Hello students, and welcome to our lesson on construction, the C in ACE. My name is Cody Whitelock, and I am a lead mentor along with my fellow presenters and lead mentors Laura Kaiser and Chris Littlefield. Construction is an important and large component of the ACE field, and in the United States alone, it's a $1.3 trillion industry. Today, we want to talk to you about what construction entails and how, along with architecture and engineering, it offers many exciting opportunities for a professional career in construction. Today, we'll cover three topics. First, the different types and areas in the construction industry. Second, why you might consider a career path in the construction industry. And third, the various professional opportunities and educational requirements that you may need. Construction is the field in which structures are built for the beneficial use of an owner. It may be an office for a company, a hospital for a community organization, a bridge for a state department of transportation, a school for students to learn, or somebody's dream home. In all cases, it adds to the infrastructure of our world. It supports the way we live, the way we move, and it always aims to improve people's lives. Construction is generally performed by contractors. They are called contractors because they enter into an agreement with the owner in which they agree to build the structure or facility for a certain price, according to certain drawings and specifications, and on a certain time schedule. That agreement is called a contract, hence the name contractor. Traditionally, our mentoring program has been focused on construction of buildings and their surroundings. But today, we want to open the curtains a little more and show you the much broader field of construction. Along with a couple of general areas of construction, there are numerous specialty fields, and together they offer a wide array of opportunities to pursue. We hope our lesson will make you at least curious about the construction industry and perhaps excited to join it. In any case, we hope it will plant a seed as you consider your professional future. So let's get started and let's talk about the major areas of construction.
We'll begin with the structures we are all familiar with, because they are a shelter and are a place where we live with our families or friends. These are known as residential constructions, or as we know them as residential buildings. Residential construction is a huge element of the construction industry we see in almost all areas of our country. In a highly developed area like the Triangle, it doesn't take much to discover a new house or a condo go up. The actual construction is usually the end product of a lot of planning by urban planners, architects, environmental agencies, and developers. Once that prepared phase of the project is completed, the contractor arrives on the scene and starts to convert the vision of those planners into a reality. We know this as a physical structure. In addition to new construction, many building contractors perform renovations and additions to existing homes. This is a very common way to improve people's living conditions and provide good business for companies specializing in this market.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Littlefield. I'm a pre-construction director with Skanska. First, I'll be talking about transportation. This segment of construction provides the infrastructure that is necessary for people and goods to be transported, and it's vital to our economy. It creates access for automobiles, planes, trains, and ships to efficiently move from one place to the other. Site work prepares the land for buildings by providing paved areas, drainage, and services prior to construction of those buildings. The owners of these types of projects are usually government agencies who are responsible for creating a transportation system to sustain the economy for the benefit of all people. The cost and investment in these structures are typically a lot higher than for buildings, and since they serve the common good, are usually paid for by tax dollars. Since this type of construction requires special skills, equipment, and human resources, there's a distinct set of construction contractors who specialize in building these types of structures. Next is commercial construction, which is near and dear to my heart. This field of construction, also called vertical construction, covers large buildings, including big apartment buildings, office buildings, schools, hospitals, shopping malls, etc. And it covers a large and vital part of our economy. These are facilities where people live or work to provide services to their communities and the public. The contractors building these structures deal with a lot of the same logistics as the residential builders. It's just on a much larger scale. There's a large amount of work planning and coordination required to build these structures. Typical commercial building requires thousands of different building materials, involve many different specialty trades that all need to show up on the job site at the right time so the construction process can proceed without interruption and the building can be completed on schedule. Next time you visit an airport or a shopping mall, look around and try to locate as many materials and details that had to be purchased, delivered, and installed to make an operational building. You'll be surprised what you see. All the areas of construction focus equally on important aspects of construction that sustain the economy. This selection of construction fields just covers some of the main areas of construction. There's many, many more that we didn't talk about before or aren't on this list. Explore the internet and see if you can discover other areas. Starting from the top, manufacturing and industrial construction covers buildings and factories, including their warehouses and logistics centers. Environmental energy. This is a field that will require new generations of engineers to help our world deal with climate change and preservation of our natural resources. It covers the protection of our wetlands and forests, conversion of fossil fuels to renewable fuels, making buildings more energy efficient, creating charging stations for electric vehicles, and many more types of facilities that aim to preserve our planet. A big component of this field is renewable energy generation facilities, windmills, solar energy facilities, geothermal installations, etc. Next, the power sector includes the building of power generation plants and transmission lines. In the conventional power plants, electricity is generated by using oil, gas, coal, or nuclear fuel. As you surely know, fossil fuels are a finite resource and have been a major contributor to greenhouse gases, one of the causes of global warming. There's an ongoing large-scale effort to convert these plants to renewable energy. All that will require talented people to make that happen. And you could be one of them. Next, oil and gas. Refineries, pipelines, storage facilities, or tanks. As long as transition to renewable energy is not complete, and that's going to take up to 50 years, we're going to depend on these facilities to keep our economy going. Even so, continuous innovations are implemented to make these resources as environmentally friendly as possible. Especially engineers will be needed in this sector for a long time to come. And finally, water and sanitation. Water and sewage treatment plants, distribution networks, these facilities are built to service our needs for clean water and treat and dispose of wastewater. Along with clean air, clean water has become a scarce commodity in some places, and part of keeping our planet livable is to preserve that water. We simply can't live without it. You can see these facilities spread through our communities, usually a little hidden from sight sometimes. But this sector also includes installations that you might not see regularly. For example, desalination plants that convert seawater into drinking water. So specialty construction. This slide showed just a selection of many of the specialty types of work to be performed to complete a final building project. There are many more, but this gives you an idea of the different trades that play a role in the realization of a building or a transportation facility. Specific to residential and commercial buildings, you have things like foundation work or concrete, steel erection, mechanical, electrical, masonry, painting, HVAC, low voltage systems like security, telecom, audiovisual. And there's also things that are sometimes more specific to transportation projects like pile driving and specialty foundations, diving and underwater work, drilling and blasting, traffic control systems, and paving companies. These types of specialty work is typically performed by subcontractors, and they represent a big part of the total construction market. They enter into contract with a contractor, sometimes referred to as a general contractor, who is responsible for the overall project, but this general contractor or contractor needs the expertise of these specialty companies. These subcontractors employ specialty personnel with a high degree of knowledge and skill in their specialty field of work. The subcontractors are directed on the job sites by the general contractor to make sure they deliver and sell their products at the right time and ideally at the right place. So, why construction? Construction is a goal-oriented, high-paced environment. Contractors work for clients who want their product. They want a building or a different kind of facility delivered in the shortest time possible and the lowest possible cost. Yet, they also want a structure that is built according to certain quality standards. A successful contractor knows how to balance those sometimes conflicting goals. And for that, he or she needs to be motivated, and their staff needs to be motivated, who are excited to work in construction. Construction offers careers for many tradesmen, the people on site who do the actual building, carpenters, masons, ironworkers, equipment operators, laborers, welders, etc. But there's also the supervision and management, who are typically done by those with an engineering degree or a construction management degree. But there are many other professions that you can find a career in construction, such as safety officers, accountants, human resources, legal staff, and many more. All staff at a construction firm develops or needs to develop a strong business sense, which is imperative for his or her personal success as well as that of the company. Those who aspire to a career in construction need to be prepared to work long hours and must often be willing to relocate from one project or another. So it's not always for everybody. However, for the successful, the rewards are high. Construction companies usually compensate them well. Money. Additionally, there is immense satisfaction in seeing a construction project completed and used by its owner. When you're done, you're leaving behind something very tangible. You contributed to making the lives of others more successful or convenient. And even years later, when you drive by or over a structure you were involved in, you can proudly say, I was part of that. Now, on to Laura.
The tasks you see on this slide are typically performed by personnel with an engineering background. We want to focus on that because you're attending ACE with an interest in, or at least a curiosity about, engineering. Engineers are basically problem solvers, and there's no better place to solve problems than on a construction project. That's an essential skill for any of the tasks you see here. Some of the above roles are for engineers working in the project sites, others for those working in the corporate office. Let's start with work planning. Each project starts with a plan of how it should be built. Work methods are being established and a time schedule made. Based on the work plan, personnel with the correct qualifications are hired, and equipment is selected as required for the task at hand. Subcontracts are being negotiated with specialty companies, and building materials are purchased. Project offices and storage areas are set up, and the project is made accessible with temporary roads. With field supervision, once the project has been mobilized and the correct resources are on board, the actual construction work or production can start. From that point on, superintendents in the field make sure the production goals are met and the project stays on schedule. They are also responsible for the quality of work delivered and the safe work environment of their workers. Safety is a key to the success of a contractor. Its main goal is to protect workers against injury by adhering to strict rules that are developed to prevent accidents from happening. Besides providing personal protective equipment, a main part of the safety program is education. It teaches personnel to not only wear the required equipment, but also behave in a safe manner. Next, project control. The progress of the project is monitored by engineering staff, who report to the client if it is on schedule. If not, they develop proposals to catch up. This may be by working extra hours or employing more personnel or equipment. The project engineer also tracks costs and makes sure any budget overruns are reported to management. The next group we'll talk about is business development, estimating, pre-construction. This is another essential work area for a construction company. It is where engineers acquire new projects by negotiations, preparing proposals, and estimating the cost of a project. The latter needs to be done with a lot of skill and experience. If your price is too high, you will lose from your competitor. If it is too low, you will not make any money on a project. And finally, client relations. It is typically the project manager who makes sure the relations between contractor and owner or client remain good, and they work hard to prevent any conflicts. Over the last decade, the use of new and innovative construction technologies has started to pave the way for new roles and responsibilities for professionals. Utilized in both the construction office and the field, these technologies have changed the way that construction professionals plan and work in a more efficient and safe manner. For example, one of the more widely publicized technologies, drones, allow us to quickly generate accurate 2D maps and 3D models of a project site. This data can be utilized to evaluate the logistics and challenges of the site early in the pre-construction phase. This allows us to maximize project environment in advance of breaking ground. However, the technology isn't limited to flying around. Others create opportunities to maximize project data, utilize 3D or BIM models, and take advantage of virtual and augmented reality. You can look forward to us discussing this more in a future class. The typical education prerequisite for an entry-level staff person with a construction company is a bachelor's degree in construction management, civil engineering, building engineering, or any specialty field. Traditionally, these staff persons were engineers, but the educational system is increasingly more focused on training in construction management, which combines a knowledge of business and engineering. Construction companies value those broader skills as they are indispensable contributors to their success. Not only do they need people who know how to build projects, but especially those with enough business savvy to make their business commercially viable. Co-op programs offer internships as part of the 4-year program, by which you will work as an intern on a project site. These are excellent learning opportunities, and they also offer a way to introduce the intern to the company. Very often, the successful student will land a job after graduation with the same employer he or she worked for during their internship. For those who are hands-on and are not necessarily interested in a 4-year college education, there are community colleges and trade schools that educate those who aspire a more hands-on role on a construction project. These so-called trades offer great opportunities and are much needed in the construction industry. They often include career paths for talented personnel that can compete with those with a college education. A skilled carpenter can become a foreman, then a superintendent, and in some cases rise to become a successful project manager. In addition to the above educational paths, many construction companies and trade unions offer apprenticeship programs, by which tradesmen receive training and education during their working hours. By participating as an apprentice, the tradesperson is able to advance his or her career. This concludes our presentation, and we would now like to switch to our interview part of this lesson.
So we have a couple of questions that are asked to each of our mentors, and I'll go ahead and introduce these questions, and then I'll take the time to answer those questions in my point of view. The first question is, what made you choose a career in construction? And in hindsight, how did it meet your expectations? I chose a career in construction with a civil engineering background. I grew up with a family that was in this industry, mainly in the subcontract world of steel construction with my father. And I listened to all the different stories that he had about the impact that he felt like he had in his career. And, all the expectations that I saw from him really led me to look at the industry as a whole. And when I went to school, I really gained that engineering background, but I always strived to get out into the field and see that hard work that we do as an industry come to life. And those expectations absolutely met everything that I ever imagined. The amount of work that we put into the world is uncomparable to the experience and information that we receive back upon it. And it is one of the industries, unlike others, that you will directly impact, and your impact will live longer than you will.
Well, as a kid, I always loved building things and working with my hands. In high school, I took wood shop. I was involved in robotics. That all led me to study civil and structural engineering in college. When I was there, I took a couple architecture classes, and I totally loved building design and construction. And I kind of thought to myself, maybe I should go into design, maybe I should be an architect. But I didn't want to count out construction, so I decided to try an internship with Skanska. And I spent a summer with the project team at the Wilkinson building, Duke's new engineering building. And I had a great time. I was like, yeah, man, this is it. I totally loved it. I think it's exceeded my expectations with respect to what's required to be successful and what I personally get out of it. I think it requires a lot of creativity to be successful in construction. Even though we are not designing things, we have to use a lot of creative problem solving every day to solve problems quickly on the job site or when we're putting together estimates. And I think it taps into my intellectual curiosity a lot because I think I'm always learning something new every day, whether it's from other estimators, project management professionals, tradespeople, other people in the industry. And I really value that.
As a young boy, I'd always enjoyed looking at construction sites, driving past them on the road, even building lots of Lego sets. So just kind of that intrigue. At first, I thought I kind of wanted to be a designer or engineer, and went on to study civil engineering. And just kind of through my classwork and curriculum, I really saw that construction was maybe a better fit, better field for me. Has lots of opportunities and lots of different projects that you can definitely be a part of. And has it met my expectations? It definitely has. It's one of those careers where years later you can go and drive by a project, take people to go see it, say I was a part of that, and I kind of feel that you helped the community, or the people who now work, live, eat, sleep in that building.
A couple of years ago, I retired from a very satisfying career in construction. But long before that, I was a teenager, perhaps like you. Wasn't too sure what I wanted to do with my life. Engineering was on the radar because I liked math and I enjoyed problem solving. Also, I always loved the outdoors and I wanted to see the world. I figured in construction there might be a possibility to combine those interests. So I went to college for a degree in civil engineering and landed a job with a construction company that operated internationally. Over the next 40 plus years, I was involved in many exciting projects, mostly in marine construction, such as seaports, bridges across waterways, etc. Also, I had an opportunity to work in 7 different countries, which was very exciting. Looking back, I have absolutely no regrets of my choice. Although there were challenges, I always got a lot of satisfaction of being involved in creating something tangible that benefits the world we live in. So going back to my teenage years, I did not have the benefits of having a mentorship like you do today. So I hope this lesson, along with my little life story, has made you excited to at least consider a career in construction. It is a choice that will require a lot of dedication, but it certainly will be rewarding, with a lot of life experiences along the way.
The second question is, what would you consider the most exciting part of working in the construction industry? And I would say this is different from each. But in my point of view, the best part of the construction industry and the ACE fields is that every day has new challenges. Every day, architects push engineers and contractors harder to make better buildings and better structure for us to live in, for us to transport ourselves, and many, many other reasons. And with those changes to the industry, we're able to take that information and build faster and better for the future. We're also seeing a massive amount of technology enter our field. And with that technology, we're able to optimize and deliver projects like never before. And it is a really exciting time to be involved in each of these different industries, especially construction.
What would you consider the most exciting part of working in the construction industry? Well, the obvious one is watching buildings get built. It's cool. It's really exciting. It's totally fascinating. I love to watch it. In my new role in estimating, I think the most exciting part of my job is the problem-solving aspect. When I get a set of documents and I have to put together a budget, I receive them from the designer and I see what's there, but I have to also look at the drawings and see through it and see what's not there. I have to fill in the blanks using my own experience from other projects and what I've personally seen in order to put together a budget that's comprehensive and will cover everything that the building's going to need, whether that's additional cost for design contingency, schedule considerations, and at the end of the day, safety. We have to make sure that the building as it's designed can be constructed in a safe way. So all that put together, requires a lot of problem-solving skill, and I think that, solving those problems is the most exciting part for me.
To me, one of the most exciting aspects of working in construction was that it always offered opportunities to learn. Each project was always different and had its own unique challenges. Every time it required one to be creative and come up with new solutions. You'd never get in a rut with a job in construction. I met many good mentors as I went from one project to the next. Thanks to them, I grew as a professional and I was able to take on more responsibilities. That also gave me the rewarding experience to share my knowledge with younger colleagues. So all the learning I did became an opportunity to teach as well.
The third question is, what is the most challenging part and what are the skills to overcome that? Well, I would say the most challenging part of this career is that it's a profession. It's not a job. You have to continue to educate yourself every day of your lives. And one of the challenging parts of that is there's no right answer in this industry. We have to be able to look at problems and solve them as a team with different backgrounds and experiences. And by doing so, we're able to come to a conclusion that benefits the whole. And the skills to overcome that are basic professional experience and education. Over time in the course of your career, regardless of which one of these careers you go into, that experience cannot be beaten. A lot of the education that you receive from school is a really good foundation and starting point. But the experience that you will have over 40 or 50 years of experience talking to different tradesmen and different people that have been in this industry for longer than you've been alive is unimaginable what you can learn over the course of time. And I think the skills of project management and leadership and looking at the past to prepare us for the future are ways that we will overcome this.
What is the most challenging part of the construction industry? I think your day-to-day will always be different. You really won't have a set schedule per day, especially depending on what sector you're working in. But if you're on site, there always seems to be something pulling you different directions at all times of the day that you really have to take care of at that moment. And then what are some skills to overcome that? Just being completely organized, having everything written down, recording everything, just so that you're organized and can go back to any notes you may have taken. And then just being diligent, following through, and just having a good work ethic to kind of go and see those problems through.
One of the many challenges in construction is the ability to collaborate effectively with others. Each contractor typically has a new team of staff for the management of a project. That team has to deal with an owner's representative, his engineer, and inspection staff. All those people may be strangers to each other in the beginning of a project, yet they have to work together as a team to make it successful. Technical knowledge is very important, but the success of a project depends at least as much on effective communication skills between all the players.
Construction has historically been a male-dominated industry. How do you view opportunities for women in construction today? Well, in an industry with an extremely high concentration of men, I'm not going to lie, it can be challenging at times. It requires resilience and grit to get accustomed to the culture and figure out where you fit in, But I think today we have all the same opportunities as our male counterparts, thanks to the women before us who paved the way and made it possible for us. And I think we can achieve even more with the right support network of women and men on our project teams, at our job sites, and other professionals in our industry. I think that's really the key to being successful and happy as a woman in construction.
How do I view opportunities for women in the construction industry? There are plenty of opportunities. I've worked with project executives, project managers, safety professionals, laborers, workers on site, estimators. Um, there are a wide range of opportunities for women. I kind of view it as the same as being an African American in the construction industry. It is really a white male dominated industry, but just kind of having those barriers taken down and having opportunities for everyone. I've seen that kind of come into fruition just in the kind of short time that I've been in the industry.
We hope you enjoyed this lesson on construction, and we hope to see you working in the future.